Yeah, we have
you
to
come
raise.
back with more detail on the
Absolutely,
MOU and details.
yeah.
Okay.
This is not, right.
So I
It needs to
would,
be more
any other questions?
No.
I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion for approval.
Council has a question.
Can I just inquire, so can you indicate for just the record what it is that you are approving at this juncture, whether it's the ability to fundraise? Because I think there's a question around if you are approving that, are you also approving as a board the project? So you have a document there, but is that document a public record? And have there been community meetings about this? So I would just ask that for you as a board to be clear in, for the record, stating what it is that you are approving. And additionally, if you all as a board feel that there needs to be any additional public engagement or meeting with the various user groups of this park, that you might stipulate that or indicate that you are approving the fundraising and asking them to have a certain level of community engagement or something.
Yeah, so I don't know if you were here when I read the motion.
I arrived at 12:01. I apologize, but
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like, the motion is Mr. Dick Horton, representing Tennessee Golf Foundation, requests approval from the board to solicit private funding for improvements at Percy Warner Golf Course to include greens, new irrigation system development and practice. So this would be to solicit private funding for improvements.
Right, understood, but by the same token, in so doing that, it appears that you as a board are giving your full approval to this plan as written on a document that...
I'll just personally speak, I'm for that. I mean, I think it's a good thing for the park, and if we need some public meetings and
But
we feel
does the
like...
board not have any other questions about it? Or, I mean, it's
You
just
can
based
ask
on the
them.
document that you've seen that you think that 100% your board is going to give it a go-ahead?
I raised the question because of the pushback from community about use of park space. And I understand what they're asking about fundraising. I get that. My question is about this paragraph at the bottom, what the organization gets in exchange. So approval for fundraising, but this feels like an MOU. This feels like MOU wording to me. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way.
What I'm trying to convey as the council member who represents the district is I think this sounds like a wonderful opportunity. I'm not opposed to it, but I would be hopeful that you as a board recognize that this is adjacent to a community. You also have a user group there at the park that, to my impression, is generally senior individuals. And so what will this change mean for that user group? Have you conducted a meeting with that user group? It's not that those can't happen in the future, but I would hope as a community member and a council member that you as a board, when you are voting on something like this, that you would frankly ask more questions, and secondarily, if you're going to approve something, that you would additionally, you would stipulate that there needs to be a community meeting or something to that effect. Because effectively, if you as a board say, let's go ahead, you've effectively given your stamp of approval to the whole entire thing to happen. And that might be a wonderful thing, right?
Well,
I think and your staff supports it. But I guess, as written here, if I were a community member who looked at this agenda, I would not understand what was happening in my park near to me. And I think it's very important that this board not get the cart before the horse, while being fully supportive of the good work that has been done. And this is an excellent opportunity, but that the onus is on you all to be showing for the public record that you are thinking critically about this and asking questions and making sure that there's going to be appropriate community engagement. I mean, I can do that subsequent to this, but then I'm in a pretty awkward position to go to my community and then say, well, it's a done deal. Parks Board's already voted on it, but we're going to come here and check the box and have a community meeting.
So we have a motion on the floor. Was there a second?
I think this motion is for them to go forward with for raising the money. Is the way I'm reading this, is that correct?
Well, the way it's worded, it does say, let's say, solicit private funding for improvements. So I think what Andrew's saying is there's a tacit approval there to do that. So maybe we just need to be a little clearer in that we give permission to raise the funds. Can we have a community meeting in the next, can you go raise funds and we can have a community meeting and come back at the next board meeting and maybe we can all be updated at that time?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We can't go out and raise funds and then come back and have you all say, well, we want to reconsider this project for this reason or that reason. We can't do it. You know, we're in a business where if somebody commits to you, they expect you to follow through on what you say. So if we don't have tacit approval or more to go forward, I'm making the assumption that this meeting today was that, yes, this is a good project for the city. We want to go forward, and then the next step is can we raise the money? So.
Question for staff. As we have renovated other golf courses.
Yes, sir.
Have we gone out and had community meetings and gotten their feedback, or have we trusted the experts who understand golf courses, and then you all have reviewed those to say this is in the best interest of parks?
What you just said right there. There's going to be no substantive change to the course. The course will be improved, but we did that at both Harpeth Hills and at Two Rivers as well. I mean, if we were adding lights or changing the footprint of the course, it would be more of an effect, I think, outside of the course. With what they're doing right now, or what they're proposing to do, it basically takes a course that's out of date. The irrigation is out of date. The greens are out of date. The one change is to create in an area that is currently not being used, an area for teaching. Which, I mean, so I guess the answer is we have not done, to make improvements on our courses without substantially changing them, we would not normally do a public hearing.
So why couldn't we approve it with the improvements, but also have a public meeting pre-MOU so we can dial it in where it makes sense for the neighborhood? So I think you can do both. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here.
Well, let me ask Angie, what are you hoping to accomplish with a public meeting?
Well, I guess,
We've trusted our staff.
I understand, Mr. Haynes, but this golf course is immediately adjacent to a residential neighborhood. It is adjacent to Cheekwood. There's a lot of concerns in the neighborhood regarding traffic. So I think potentially that the neighborhood would take umbrage at the fact that another use or a change of use is being introduced. It may not have a significant impact at all. I'm not asserting that it does. I'm not saying that it's a negative. But again, kind of in a cart course scenario, how would you feel if you lived immediately adjacent to this golf course, or that you were a senior who goes and golfs here all the time, and all of a sudden this golf course has been converted to a solely youth purpose? How?
I don't think it's not a solely used purpose.
Well, that's not something I know.
Well, that's where I think we need to.
Have you already been doing youth development at the Percy Warner Golf Course, or is that a new thing with this?
Well,
I can speak to that.
John
Our
can.
staff has, yes. We have.
Because we had an award from somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Say
And
more
I don't
about
think it's a change of usage. I think it's just
No.
enhancing what we have.
Can you say more about that? I think we need to hear that.
That is, Kevin Fort has, and actually, like you said, you recognized him just maybe the last board meeting. He has been using Percy Warner as a location to develop his, and I always use the wrong term, it's the team golf sport that's out there right now. And so he's been doing that at Percy Warner currently. So we do utilize Percy Warner as a, it's very user friendly. It's very easily walkable. In regards to the seniors, anytime we make improvements and close the course, somebody's not going to like that while it's closed. But the end result is everyone is going to have a better product to use, including the seniors. So, and we've had no kickback at all. And Two Rivers has a very large senior user group out there, and no one has kicked back on.
I've actually gotten a lot of good comments about this from neighbors across the street from the course that live in, is it Bell Forest or whatever. So it's just enhancing what we have, and we have someone who's willing to raise funds and do it. And I do think we should talk about the MOUs, and we need to dial it in appropriately for the neighbors. Totally get that. So I think that's part of that, but I don't think we should lose this opportunity.
Will the percentage of time that youth are on the course be significantly different or increased?
That's a good question. Really what we want to do is put in an area for youth, but for anybody that wants to learn to play. This is going to be a teaching area. It's not going to be an area that you're going to come and rent range balls and pound them out all day long. It'll always be supervised instruction. There may be 12 to 16 in a class that's there. The use of the golf course, you're already playing 33,000 rounds of golf there, so we're not going to fill your golf course up. You've already got children that play there. You've got women and seniors that play there. So I see no impact whatsoever on traffic. I know there's a much bigger traffic issue on other parts inside that park, but quite frankly, I don't think that's our issue right now of what we want to do. And we can't go forward with this project and then all of a sudden have a road carve up and come right straight through where we just invested $1.5 million on and now all of a sudden there's going to be a 4-lane road going into Cheekwood through the golf course. So that's not what we're trying to do. And I think, Mr. Anderson, you've hit it right on the head. It's an opportunity, and there is a window of time.
So Angie, if we take the approach of let's approve it, but let's bring the MOU back after a public meeting, I think that's how we do it.
Right. I think the community would just like to hear from you all as a board. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And again, please, I'm not trying to project any sort of negativity to the project, but I just ask for your board from an order of operations standpoint. If you were to read this, you might not realize that there were changes coming to the golf course, and thus I just think it's, the onus is on you all in approving this to also convey for the public record that it is important to inform the community about the future possible changes. Again, which all seem to be positive, but there will be questions like, does this, again, the question I just had, is it now youth only?
No.
Can all ages still? But again, how does the community know that other than to have watched this meeting and heard you all asking those questions? If you all ask those questions, then this meeting can effectively almost serve as your public meeting, right? If your description here is more detailed, then community members who are concerned can come to this meeting or watch this meeting as you ask critical questions and learn about the project just by watching YouTube. Right? So prior to my raising eyebrows and actually kind of point of order, this was about to pass and y'all were done. So, in that document that you're looking at and referring to for purposes of making that decision, it's not on your website. It's not a public record. Community members just want to know what's happening in their corner of their neighborhood. And people take offense when they feel that they have not been engaged or consulted, or that the board, might not, and I'm not saying this, but they might get the impression that you don't care what the adjacent community. But by just simply iterating, this sounds like a wonderful project, and additionally, we would encourage you, Mr. Horton, to coordinate with a council member to have a community meeting, then you convey that to the community.
So we have a motion.
Y'all being recorded gives you an
We
opportunity.
have a motion on the floor. Someone second it? We got a second? Any further discussion?
Were we amending it to say what you said?
If you want to do that, that would be good.
Okay. I think we should include that we would like to
Have community, the
have
community open, yeah.
open community discussion.
And take that into consideration at the with the MOU,
process.
yeah.
Yes.
Would that be sufficient for you to proceed, because it's approved, but we just want to make sure the MOU, the
Yeah,
times and the ages and all that, it just kind of outlines everything you talked about and we talked
And
about.
the funding.
I think that'll be fine.
Yeah.
I've got people that I need to go back and see. This is pretty time sensitive for us, and that I'd like to be assured that it just focuses in on this property, this issue, and not additional issues that are on inside the park that we're going to be included in.
No, just this program.
So just this program.
Right.
And in our prior discussions my prior discussions with Angie, it was not focused just on this program. It was focused on a bigger vision of the thing, which I understand. That's certainly.
I think it needs to be only on this program, or we'll be here 10 years from now talking about this.
No, understood.
Yeah,
I had conveyed to Mr. Horton that one of the reasons I thought a community meeting was important is that neighbors have just had larger concerns about all the attenuating traffic. And so I did not want neighbors to see new things happening there and feel like, wait, we're adding a new use. Again, it's just about transparency and full disclosure.
Well, I think the
don't
message is
think-
it's enhancing the current usage.
Indeed,
Okay.
right. I'm not suggesting that we should have a meeting to give people the context to be oppositional. I just, again, transparency and information, because we understand the larger context in that community because of all the challenges there. I'm not saying it's just context.
So I think we'll have an
Context.
informational meeting outlining what we talked about today, and if they have questions and answer afterward, we can have that. How about that? Okay. So we have an addendum. Take a motion to amend the motion. All right. Second. All those in favor of amending the motion? Opposed? All right. So now we have a motion with an addendum. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.